Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Katie.
and today's episode we are going to discuss the season premiere of Survivor, season 32, Kaoh Rong, Brains versus Brawn versus Beauty 2.
Dos.
I was noticing that when I was typing out the title for this podcast, that this is like the longest title for anything I've ever heard in my life. It's
a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. Just when you think you're done, there's another 2 at the end of it. Brains
Yeah.
versus Brawn versus Beauty 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of like colons and abbreviations and
Survivor
in that type.
season 32. Kaoh Rong.
I mean,
Brains
people are
versus
just going to
Brawn
call
versus
it
Beauty.
Kaoh Rong. People are
that's-
just going to end up calling it Kaoh Rong.
Yeah, at this point, that's what I'm calling it. It's Kaoh Rong. So
It's easier because these Brains versus Beauty versus Brawn, these tribe distinctions aren't going to last that long, I don't think. But
yeah, that's what's kind of funny about these seasons is they place so much importance on the Brain versus Brawn versus Beauty thing, but they end up doing tribe swaps so quickly they aren't even they don't have those tribes for very long. So
yeah, but yet the distinction kind of sticks with them. You know what I mean? Like you always looked at Spencer and Cass as brains, even though they weren't always brains, but you just kind of always looked at them that way.
Yeah, that is actually one of my favorite parts of these types of seasons is it's interesting how the characters actually start to identify with that label they're given. They really seem to own it. They're like proud of it, and they fall right into those roles.
Yeah,
and it works. It works.
it works. I mean, it can get annoying. Don't you think it can get annoying?
How do you mean?
Well, like Nick is talking about how beautiful he is.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to argue with, but still, it's a little bit.
He's a good-looking guy in the whole package, kind of good looking. Like his face isn't really like model, but like when you see him in
you see a full shot
like
of that guy running around, and he does look like he's like 90s, like Beverly Hills 90210 beautiful. Like I feel like I could see him at the Peach Pit. I don't know if that's a reference you get if you were as into 90210 as I was, but
no, I would maybe get like Max's Diner reference if you said that, but not the Peach Pit.
What's Max's Diner?
Or the Max, I guess. The Max.
My God, you don't even know you're Saved by the Bell. The Max.
I haven't seen that show isn't that what it's called? The Max?
Yeah, it's called The Max. It's not called Max's Diner.
Oh, well, same thing.
Yeah. No.
Anyway,
let's
talk about Survivor, not Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, do you want to go just go through the tribes and see what stood out to us the most or what irked us?
We can start there and see what happens.
Okay. Well, which tribe out of the 3 did you get the strongest feeling about? Like
good
who
or
did you
bad?
think good? Like who do you think is going to do the best as a tribe?
Well, based on you got to remember that you're always being tricked by the edit. Like they're always trying to like lead you this way so you don't. Mm-hmm. Then again, I mean, it could be setting up, the story or whatever. It's always, I love that. It's hard to tell, but based on the edit we saw, it looks like they're setting up the Beauty tribe to be like super cohesive and kind of firing on all cylinders. Even though the challenge was closer and the Brains were the first to win that, I feel like the Beauty tribe seems to be the most like have the most promise to go farther into the game as far as like, I don't know, cohesiveness
as a unit.
Yeah,
I agree. That's what I thought. I think that the Beauty tribe seems pretty solid. I was pleasantly surprised with the girls. I mean, we kind of talked about how we think the girls will stick together on that tribe and they will be a force, and I think that's definitely.
Yeah, I think we were right about that.
Yeah, but I am a little confused about which of the guys they're going to end up kind of bringing along. At first, it looked like Ty, but then Ty went and kind of acted a fool out there, and so now I don't know if they're so keen on bringing Tai along. But at the same time, of the two other guys, I was really impressed with Julia. She's only 18 when she's playing, but she's seen Big Brother, and she immediately recognized the value of Caleb.
Yeah, like she knew him for being super loyal.
Yes.
And sticking with whatever alliance, yeah.
So she recognized the value in that.
Yeah, I would say based on the edit of their tribe, it looks to me like Caleb is going to be the one that they're going to get to be their fourth and in the alliance.
But then they're teasing up a bromance between Caleb and Tai. I mean, didn't you get that impression in the preview for next week? Or maybe that was something.
I think it's just gonna be a silly little thing, like Tai tried to kiss him, it made Caleb uncomfortable, and it's
I don't think that would make Caleb uncomfortable. Caleb spent 3 months in a house with Frankie Grande, who was all over every man in that house for 90 days.
So he's used to it.
No, so a little kiss from Tai isn't going to faze him. But anyway, Entertainment Weekly every week does an interview with Probst, and he gives a little tease. And I guess this is where I read it, but he said, prepare yourself for one of the unlikeliest bromances in Survivor history. And so that's that's a complete guess. He didn't say who it would be, but that would be my guess for unlikely romance would be Tai and Caleb.
I mean, who else would it be? I mean, it's got to be that. So.
Yeah, Scott and Kyle are cut from the same cloth, and they're already a bromance, and that's not that unlikely.
Yeah. So if they have a bromance, what does that mean for that tribe? And does it mean the guys are going to stick together and go guys versus girls, or does it mean
no idea? I think it'll make it more interesting, but at the same time, like you said, I think that tribe is strong. I don't foresee them actually going to a tribal council anytime soon.
Yeah. So before a swap even. So
yeah, and like the beauty tribe on the first Brains versus Beauty versus Brawn, I felt was kind of a lot dumber than this tribe seems. This tribe seems more intelligent, with the exception of Caleb, who he's not intelligent, but I think he's a social threat. So I don't think there are any dummies really on that tribe.
Yeah, Caleb did not come off the way I thought he would. Honestly, I thought he would be much more the type to put his foot in his mouth, and that's just based on what I've heard about him, because I didn't really watch that season of Big Brother. You know, I didn't really see him, so based on what I've heard, yeah, he didn't come off that bad, honestly.
With the exception of him being like, why is Tai on this tribe? But to be fair, everybody at home was thinking the same thing. Like, why was Tai on the beauty tribe? But then once he talks a little bit and you realize that he's just, I think it's from his beauty on the inside. Or else they were making the tribes and they were like, oh, we need to put this guy somewhere. Where's he going to go? Oh, he's beautiful on the inside, so let's put him on beauty.
And he's fabulous, so there's that too. You know.
I was really worried when he was pulling up those trees and digging for the idol. First of all, they don't bury idols that like underneath living trees. So I don't know why
they bury idols. Yeah, sure
they barely bury. They put them in. They like set them in trees.
They're almost always in a tree hole. Like that's
but they don't. But he was ripping out trees and digging like a dog for a bone. Like that's not where you put immunity idols.
They do that, but usually there's a clue that says dig here or something. You know.
Right.
So anyway. It's hard to dig him up. That was pretty silly of him to. I didn't feel like he needed to look yet either, and if he did, maybe he could have found a better time to do that. So.
Yeah, it was poor gameplay on his part. Do you think he's completely screwed by that, or do you think he'll be okay?
It's tough to say. I think that if they were to go vote. Right at that point, you know, he would be the obvious choice, because then you'd have an excuse to vote someone out and you wouldn't have to think twice about it, which is something after the episode airs, if I have time, I like to listen to, you know, Rob and his podcast, and now Steven's back with the Know-It-Alls. And something Steven said in that podcast that I thought was really interesting to think about was how the girls sort of like immediately went to, oh, he was looking for the idol, so we need to vote him out. Like it's sort of become this Survivor cliche. They don't it's an automatic reaction. They don't even think about why would we do that, or like why was he looking for the idol and why did he tell us about it? You know, they just assume that's the guy to vote out. It's just like it's become this sort of like meta thing where they're being fans of the game, playing the game. They just, oh, that's what you do. He's immediately the new target because he was looking for an idol. It's kind of interesting.
What should Caleb have done? Because I think Caleb was the first one to warn everybody what he was doing. So if Caleb were a savvier player, how else could you have used that information? Could he have just gone to Ty and been like, hey, can I help you look? We'll keep it between us if we find anything. Or like, what would be the move there?
I guess there are other moves there. Like you said, you could go to him and tell him, I know what you're doing, I'll help you look. Or that was the best move, basically. Like maybe the best move is to just be like, oh, we can isolate this guy. I mean, in Caleb's case, I think it was the best move, probably.
Yeah, because he's not, I mean, like I said, I don't think he's as horrible as maybe people were saying before the game, but I don't think he's smart enough to grasp all the fallout that could potentially come from, you know, him going to help Ty and then what that would lead to and blah, blah, blah. So I think for him, he probably made the best move.
Yeah, I don't think he was aware that he was like making, you know, a choice or a move there. I think it was just like, that's just what he did. And it turns out that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, so, it was.
Yeah.
Do you have any additional thoughts on the Beauty Tribe?
Not much else other than just I get a strong sense that the girls are really tight. I get this strong sense that you have a sort of strong duo between Anna and Julie, and then Michelle is kind of their third, and then Caleb is going to be their fourth. So that's kind of how it'll go. I think the only exception to that would be, like you said, this potential bromance where the guys decide they stick together and they end up pulling one of the girls, convincing them that, oh, we need a strong tribe for challenges, so let's vote out Julie. She's young and small and she's not strong. So that's the only scenario where potentially the girls get split up. But if they don't get split up in the first vote, I think that's a strong foursome / threesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not entirely convinced of who their fourth person is at this point. I'm sure it'll become clearer as the days go by, but I'm still, because, you know, they showed Anna walking with Nick. So, I mean, it seems like they're open to who that fourth person could be.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Caleb, but I agree. There's no way to know for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have much else to say about Beauty. They almost screwed the pooch. They had a huge lead in the challenge and almost lost it, but they
what was it? They got stuck on that cradle, right? They were trying to push
they couldn't get it in the cradle or whatever it was. They didn't have the, you know, I think with Nick and Caleb, but Caleb's got show muscle, like we said. His muscle's not for actually doing stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's
exactly.
For, like, showing off.
Exactly.
So where should we go next? Brains?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm not a big. I was kind of annoyed by your boy Neil. Not gonna lie.
What annoyed you about him?
The whole mocking the old people thing. That was not a good look.
Yeah, no, I'm not really cool with that either. It's not necessarily the smartest way to go. Is just to like immediately call people out on the obvious things and hope that it works out. I mean. Yeah. Go ahead. Explain your thoughts.
See, I might regret putting this out there, but this is something I haven't heard anybody mention. But who do you have ostracized on the Beauty Tribe? The small, gay, Asian dude. The one who's not like the others.
Yeah.
Who do you have ostracized on the Brains tribe? The two old folks. Who do
Mm-hmm.
you have ostracized on the Brawn tribe? The two black people. I mean, is that just coincidence? Like, what is happening? Why is this? Is it just you judge people so quickly based on differences that's just an easy way to convince people to group together? Or is it a coincidence, complete coincidence?
No,
Like,
I don't think it's coincidence. I think it's primal, and that's something
okay.
that makes Survivor interesting is and this is why Neil is it's a literally a survival mechanism. This is why Neil is calling these guys out like immediately, because he's so scared for his own ass. You know, they all are. Everyone is scared that they're going to be the first one voted out. So you're super inclined and tempted to just pick out someone you can call, put the target on. It's you can't help it. And sometimes I think the obvious outer differences are the ones that people like latch onto because it's just the easiest thing and it's the easiest to make other people see. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's not something they immediately want to go to, right? It's not something they want to be seen as doing. But as soon as like people in that group give them an excuse, like Ty looking for an idol or Darnell breaking the goggles, as soon as they have an excuse, they're like, oh, that's all I need. So or Debbie being obnoxious, which no matter how old she was, Debbie would be obnoxious. I mean, that's just how it is. But
I called that one. I knew I just knew she had that baddie lady thing going on. I could just tell.
I thought maybe she could be like more like a Carolyn, like a mom to the group, but she's too obnoxious.
No, yeah, she really is a badass lady, and I would probably like enjoy getting a beer with her or something. But yeah, in the game, you're stranded on the beach with her at all times. Her personality would grate me for sure. But at the same time, I would want her on my side because she seems to, in a punishing season, she seems to have the biggest grasp on survival.
Yeah.
And I think that could come into play actually.
But she doesn't have a very good grasp on Survivor.
Yeah.
I mean, she has to know if she's a fan of the game, which it appears she is. She listed Coach as like who she is like, which so far she seems right. But you have to be aware that to do any kind of length in the game, you have to not talk so much. And
just not be weird and not try to force your way into people liking you. You can see the clip from next week. She's probably getting a sense that people aren't feeling her, and she's like trying to do these like theatrics, like juggling and acting like a cheerleader. She's like, I'll just make them laugh and then they'll love me. And it's like, no, what you need to do is chill the F out and sit back a little bit and maybe start forming some bonds.
Yeah, I feel bad that Joe got lumped in with her just because he's old. I mean, he seems, and I feel like he's the one person out of the whole cast that we didn't see enough of. But I think they did a really good job of showing most people. But I would have liked to seen more from Joe. Like, did he do something to ostracize himself, or is it strictly because of age that they're not? Because Neil's douchey, Peter's super douchey, Liz is pretty douchey, and Aubrey's just kind of lumped in with him. Aubrey's kind of I don't know if she's going to make it out there.
She's just young.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I'd want someone like Joe. I think one of those girls should go talk to Joe and be like, look, because I don't know. I don't like that group.
I feel you. The Brains this time around are, even though they were the first to win that challenge, I feel like they're the most like, what do you call that? Shattered, fractured.
They're not cohesive. Although Brawn is kind of a mess too.
They think they are like, young versus 4 young, strong versus 2 old. They think that's how it is, but I think they're just like, I get a bad feeling. I think they're in trouble. The Brains are in trouble.
Let me tell you something. If I'm in trouble on a desert island, I'm going to go to Joe long before I'm going to go to Neil for help. Maybe even Dr. Obama. I'm not going to go to that douchebag for help. I'm going to go to Joe.
Yeah. Well, I'm feeling not so great about my pick at this point after seeing
I'm
the first
feeling
episode.
horrible about my picks. Like, I hate both of them. I mean, Liz, I think, might be good at this game, but she's going to drive me nuts. And Peter's just an epic douchebag.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, we just didn't know, though. We didn't have enough to see yet. But
Even at this point, no one stands out like, wow, that person's going to be the winner. I was expecting to feel that way about Kyle or Jason or whatever the hell his name is.
I guess we have to call him, I want to call him Kyle, but I guess we have to call him Jason. So
he's going by Jason for some stupid reason. But anyway, I was kind of underwhelmed by his gameplay last night. But I don't know if you want to talk about Brawn yet, if you have more to say about the brains.
I just wanted to mention that when they showed Neil and Liz in the water together, I was like, look, Catie, they're flirting.
They are not going to fall in love. Did you hear that Liz dated Stephen Fishback?
Yeah, I did hear that. That was crazy. I couldn't believe that. But
what a fool to let him slip away.
Yeah.
Well, how smart can she be? Really?
Yeah. No. Well, then I heard that Neil is actually 38.
He is, yes.
I didn't realize he was that old, so I'm less inclined to think that Elizabeth would have any interest in a guy as old as Neil. But
yeah, I think your love forecast is.
Yeah, they seem to have a bond, though. They might be an alliance.
You're right.
Honestly, out of the brains, I feel like they have the best shot long term. Those two.
Yeah, but, if you listen to a lot of pregame stuff, people were really hard on Neil, and I didn't understand why, because he wrote a really long bio. But yeah. I mean,
I didn't either.
Other than his ageist remarks, I wasn't like, oh my God, this guy's horrible. He's gonna be just the first one out. He's too quirky, and I didn't feel that way at all. And I don't know why people were saying that.
Yeah, he seems to be well attuned.
Yeah,
and that's huge in Survivor. Just having a sense of where people are at and how they fit in.
And it's possible that he was just, talking to those other three people saying, look, they're different than us. Let's get rid of them and team up. And it doesn't mean he believes it, but I mean, it's a way to use groupthink to his advantage.
Yeah. All Neil really has to do to stay until the next swap is just stay cool. If he gets paranoid and does anything crazy, he could get himself into trouble. But I also worry about, what is that noise? What are you doing? You doing something?
I wasn't playing with my headphones.
Yeah,
better now?
It was making a really bad noise. Yeah, that's
better.
Sorry. So I am worried about Neil for a medevac too. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, just the same thing that happened to Aubrey. I just like a lot of those people that just don't seem as like where they're going from a sort of white collar world and life in the city into just right into the worst brutal island conditions. You have to worry about the people like that. So
yeah, I'm worried about a lot of them, and apparently a lot of them are gonna get sick. So we're right to be worried. So
I would put Neil on that potential list, but yeah, if he can stay healthy and keep his cool, not get too paranoid, I think he'll make the next swap at least.
Yeah, I'm not too down on Neil. I just didn't care for the things he said.
Yeah, it's always ugly to see people, like, oh, let's just vote out the old people. Look, they're old.
I know.
It's just sad.
I hate it.
But that's the name of the game. I mean,
I know. I know. It's a mean game. It's not a nice game.
You have to ostracize people and vote them out. So
yeah.
Anyways, I think I'm good on. Maybe we should talk about Aubrey's meltdown real quick, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I didn't.
It's just straight up panic attack. I've had a couple of those in my life. They're not fun, and you can't really explain them. The best way to explain it was said by Elizabeth, I think. She said, she's thinking too much about thinking, or like she's worried about worrying. That's that's kind of what happens. You get in this like cycle, and that's what it seemed like she was going through. And then you throw in dehydration, all that stuff.
Well, why the hell were they doing the palm fronds out in the sun? Are they stupid?
I have to say that was just stupid. Yeah, like if I was out there, I would be very careful about how much time I spent in the sun. For one thing, I burn really bad. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
super fair skinned, so I would have to be
Mm-hmm.
incredibly careful of that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, even if you don't burn, you got to be thinking about heat exhaustion. You should be in the shade like as much as possible.
Yeah.
So just stupid. Yeah.
She seemed to get herself together for the challenge because she was swimming and diving for those paddles, and she was a champ on the puzzle. So she
puzzle.
seemed to pull herself together.
She did an amazing job in the challenge. Amazing.
Yeah. So if it comes down to, you know, they have to vote someone out, are they going to think back on that panic attack and be like, well, she's a little bit unstable? And maybe that's unfair too, but they're not using fair criteria to vote people out, judging by who got voted out.
To be honest, if they lose the next challenge, I think they will go for a weak challenge link. And I don't think they see her that way now. She actually
probably not.
They wouldn't have won without her. So
right.
It's tough to say if they'll remember that, like what they will remember. But if I was them, I'd probably keep her around for the challenges because she did a really good job. But who knows?
She did, yes.
Who knows, man?
Again, it's hard to say.
One more thing I wanted to say is that I couldn't help but notice that the brains this time around really are super brainy. Like they are like the super typical nerdy brainy type. With maybe the exception of Joseph. But the rest of them are all using like big words and like I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah, they're pretty brainy. I'm not a fan though. Gotta be honest.
I hope we warm up some of them. Maybe if
I'm sure I want to see more Joe. That's all I want to say. I want to see more Joe. Because if he's going to get voted out right away, let's get some Joe time before that happens.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's not going to be the first one they would vote Debbie. If they're going to vote old people, they'll vote Debbie first.
All right. She's not that old. Whatever.
That's another thing I wanted to say. Like, how much older is Debbie than Peter?
Or Neil's like 38. She's only like 10 years older than him.
Exactly.
There's a bigger gap between Joe and Debbie than there is between, well, there's a gap between Joe and everybody. But, there's a bigger gap between Joe and Debbie than there is between Debbie and Neil. But again, he's just using that to tell people just to fit in, so he's not the one voted out if they go to tribal.
He's trying to put the target on someone else. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think we've spent enough time on the brains for now, I suppose.
Enough, yes.
So, bronze?
Yeah, we can talk about them. I suppose we have to. We saw the most of them, I'd say. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could have predicted that they would be the ones going to tribal based on all the screen time they got doing alliance talk and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jason is as smooth at, making alliances with everyone. Like, I'm sure people notice that. Like, and that therefore people aren't going to trust him. So I don't know how smart that was.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell Darnell noticed that because he was talking to Sydney and he said, "What do you think of Alicia? I think we should align with Alicia," because he wasn't feeling the guys,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you must have noticed, that Kyle wasn't on his side and wasn't making any alliances with him.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear that Kyle and Scott are running the show over there. I was kind of surprised to see Scott take such a leadership role on the tribe. Like, usually those baller type guys, they kind of just hang out for a while and eventually get picked off before the merge. So to see him like so in the mix and calling the shots, and it was kind of pleasantly surprised, to be honest, but I don't agree with who went home. So I'm mad about that.
Yeah, would have liked to see more from King Darnell. That's for sure.
Yeah, I really was. I was surprised. I thought for sure it was just a red herring and that Alicia was gonna go home. But
yeah, let's talk about Darnell's situation. What do you think? What do you think about how he ended up being the one voted home? Do you think what else was going on that we didn't see, in your opinion?
I think that Kyle and Scott, they have Jen, so they don't need. She's not an option. Those three are a thing, and they also knew that Sydney and Darnell were a thing. They weren't so sure about Alicia being in with them because Sydney didn't like Alicia, so they thought they needed to break up the duo of Sydney and Darnell. And Sydney's really tough. She's going to help them a lot in challenges. And Darnell screwed up. So they saw that as just their excuse to get rid of a person who was a part of a twosome. And they saw Alicia might actually be willing to work with them, although Alicia's got no idea what's going on out there. So I don't know why they'd wanna, keep her around. But I guess they thought keeping her around would be better than keeping someone with a tight connection to someone else, I guess. Yeah. So now they have the numbers. They have three, and they can bring Alicia, and Sydney, I guess, is on the outs.
Yeah, I have to say, when you put it that way and you think about it, it's probably the smartest move for those guys, and they probably did the right thing. I mean, Sydney and Darnell, it did seem like they were kind of like wanting to team up there, and Alicia, like you said, the fact that Sydney didn't like Alicia, and maybe they knew that, there's an easy in right there to just kind of shatter up that whole group. So,
but don't you also think at this stage in the game you have to keep your tribe strong? And Darnell is the clear pick over Alicia. Like, I don't even know why she's on that tribe. Because she went skydiving once? That doesn't make you a Brawn.
Yeah, I have to say, in our pregame assessment, I was completely wrong about her.
I don't even remember what you said. What did you say?
I said, like, I got a really good feeling about her, and that she had this, like, super strong personality, and, like, that she was, like, a strong woman, and, like, kind of, like, she would, like, put her foot down and, like, get in your face and take control.
Oh, yeah.
I said she would, like, take control, and, man, I was, like, so wrong about her. Such bad reading.
Yeah.
I think I just fell for her script, that she sort of...
She's a mental giant?
Yeah, which, the mental giant thing was a huge part of her script that she says, in the interviews. And I fell for the interview, Alicia. She's not really like that. As it turns out, she's actually she comes off as a bit of a buffoon.
Yeah. And she forgot to take the cap off of her marker when she was writing her vote down.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So she's not someone who belongs on the Brains tribe, so they got that one right. She probably would have been at home on the Beauty tribe, but even those girls are way smarter than this girl. But I do want to say I had a really bad feeling about Sydney going into the game, but I ended up kind of liking Sydney last night. And of course, typically she's on the outs now that I like her, because she said something when she voted for Alicia. She said something so hilarious. What was it? Oh, she said, "You are starting to irk my soul." And I was like, that is amazing. This girl needs to stay forever.
Yeah.
So I hope she finds a way to.
She did a pretty good job of playing it cool in all the scenarios too, where she was kind of being approached on the vote, So
yeah, there was no storm. I didn't see a storm coming. So I thought for a minute that she would, but no, I was impressed with her, and I want to see her play way more than I want to see friggin' Alicia play. So
yeah, she's got potential for sure. So hopefully we get to see more from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brawn were pretty interesting. I mean, there's more to talk about here, right?
Sure. Probably.
I guess I love the character types because the Brawn are really brawny.
They are. They're very brawny, but they lost.
With the exception of Alicia, maybe, and Darnell might also be kind of, he doesn't, and that's something interesting you could talk about too, how the people on the outs of that tribe don't really are the one who are like the least Brawn,
Well, that if any tribe is going to alienate someone who's not like them, it's going to be the Brawn.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's incredibly interesting.
Scott was mad because Darnell lost the game for them, basically. I mean, that's how he's used to looking at things. Darnell's the one that missed the 3-pointer at the buzzer, and so he needs to go. It's like, that's just how he sees things.
Makes sense, definitely.
He's a jock.
I just find that interesting that the two that were on the chopping block were the two least brawny.
That's true. They were.
Cool. Yeah.
They definitely were. All right. Do you see? Because a lot of people really high on Kyle Jason before the game, or Jason, whatever he is.
Yeah.
Do you, now that we've seen the first episode, do you foresee him going all the way like a lot of people do?
I could definitely see it. I can see that he's got that sort of bully mentality, which, my way or the highway, which, can get you in a lot of trouble. But a lot of times those types of people, they're so alpha, they just kind of get their way. So,
yeah, that's true.
So I could see him kind of muscling his way appropriately to the
But Russell
top.
didn't win. I mean, these people forget, like, don't put Russell as your idol. Russell played 2 amazing games, made it to the end 2 times, and people refused to vote for him because of his terrible, terrible social game. You can't play like Russell and expect to win.
Yeah.
You just can't.
I do think part of Russell's problem was he's just such, personality-wise, he's just such a scoundrel. Like, you almost get the sense that even outside of the game, Russell is not the kind of guy you want to hang out with, because he's like
he's not. Have you ever seen him on Twitter? He's such an ass.
Yeah, see, like, he's just there's a good chance he's just an asshole. I don't know. I've never met the guy. I can't say, but
he's probably an asshole.
You get that impression. And for Kylo Jason, I feel like he sort of is cool at the same time as being aggressive. Like, I think people are more, he has a lot more potential to be a likable person,
I don't think anyone's gonna want to let him get to the end, though.
No, absolutely not. He's got that story too. Yeah,
one with autism.
Yeah. He's got the story. So yeah, they should be wary of him for sure.
Same with Ty. Those guys aren't getting anywhere near the end, because if they do, it's over.
Yeah, that's why I'm feeling good about Jennifer as my girl pick, because I think these guys are pretty tight, and if she's like their right-hand girl, like their number 3, if there's a final 3, she's there.
Yeah.
And boom, I'm feeling good about that.
Speaking of Jennifer, I just want to say that I slept with this over my ears last night, and I probably will continue to do so until the terror fades away.
Yeah,
that's something will crawl inside my ear.
Yeah, that's a little paranoid, because I don't think you have to worry about it in your bed, but yeah, I can see how that would disturb you a little bit. That was kind of gross.
That was terrifying to me. Like, that's a nightmare come to life.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully that's the grossest thing that happens this season.
I don't think that will be the grossest thing. I think things are going to get messy.
No more living creatures in people's orifices. At least don't talk about it.
I don't think it'll be living creatures that will be a problem, but
then nothing can be as gross. I mean, people can have skin falling off. I don't care. It will not be as gross as that to me. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I hope you never get bed bugs, because that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, I know it.
So.
Woo! So do we have anything else we need to talk about?
I think we pretty much shellacked it. You got it.
That was a good neologism. I appreciated that word he used last night.
Yeah, see, that's brains. They're so articulate,
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I like Neil. He just needs to not be a dick. But I think Peter's got that covered. Peter's going to be the dick on that tribe. I don't think anyone needs to worry about that.
He does seem very douchey. It'll be fun to see how that develops.
He's the one I picked. I picked him as my guy pick, and I immediately regret it. So.
Yeah, that guy doesn't stand a chance. I mean,
no way, not a chance.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for being so dumb and picking him, but like we didn't have much to go on. Those videos, you don't know what they're gonna be like with other people. So whatever.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. Maybe we should do some predictions for next week.
Who do you think's in trouble?
God, I just feel like the Brains are going to crash and burn. I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's really hard to say. I feel like Beauty's gonna be good. So it's between Brawn and Brains. And
Brawn,
I mean, it's
Brawn
hard
can't
to
lose twice in a row.
Yeah, it's hard to see them losing again. So I guess I'm gonna go with Brains probably losing next week and maybe getting rid of Debbie.
Yeah. What'd you say about Lizzie?
I didn't say any. Who's Lizzie? I didn't say anything about Lizzie.
Oh, but you said losing. You said losing.
Losing.
Liz. Her name's Liz, so I thought you called her.
Her
Lizzie.
name's Liz.
Yeah.
I'm not close enough with her to call her Lizzie.
Yeah.
So
you said Debbie goes home?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Debbie, but she's obnoxious. So any excuse to send someone home, they'll send her home. I want Joe to like make inroads though. Like I want to see him work on his game a little bit. But
yeah, I don't think he's gonna have any problem voting Debbie out either, though.
No, he'll go along with it. I don't think that's a problem. He's probably just as annoyed.
Because he could work his way in with like the guys or something. They could vote out Debbie, and then he could be like, "Let's get a guys thing going," and they might even be open to that. So I don't know. I'm not terribly worried about him as much as Debbie. So yeah, I have to go with the same exact prediction that it will be Debbie next week.
Yeah. You know what's disappointing is that she's not wearing her tiger bathing suit on the show.
She's not. What did she take it off?
She's wearing like a bikini.
Like she just took it off before the game started or something?
Well, maybe they wear different swimsuits for their like photo shoots.
Oh yeah.
And then they have like practical, actual survival swimsuits. You know?
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, for sure.
So that's upsetting, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's too bad.
Too bad. Too bad.
All right, well, I think that does it for this episode. We'll see you guys next week when we break down episode 2
Debbie's demise.
Yeah, episode 2 titled Debbie's Demise. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Have a good night.